My beloved child. There is a moment in life that arrives quietly, almost like a whisper carried by the wind. Most people miss it. Most people walk past it without realizing what just changed forever. But today, something is different. Something has shifted in a way that cannot be ignored anymore. Somewhere, in a place you cannot see yet, a heart that once felt uncertain has finally begun to understand something powerful about you. Pause for a second and feel this. For a long time, your soulmate saw only fragments of who you truly are. They saw your smile, but not the depth behind it. They heard your words, but not the meaning hidden inside them. They noticed your presence, but they did not yet recognize the rare energy you carry. But something happened recently. A realization. A quiet moment where everything suddenly made sense to them. And when that realization arrived, it changed the way they see you completely. Stay till the end, because what they are beginning to understand about you right now is not ordinary. It is something that only a few people ever experience in their lifetime. Imagine someone slowly looking back at every memory they shared with you. Every conversation. Every silence. Every small moment that once seemed normal. And suddenly those memories start connecting together like pieces of a puzzle. That is exactly what is happening to them now. Your soulmate has started to notice something they could not see before. The way your presence brought calm during their confusion. The way your words carried wisdom even when you spoke gently. The way your energy felt different, almost like it was guiding them somewhere deeper inside themselves. At first, they tried to ignore it. They told themselves it was nothing. But the more they thought about you, the clearer the truth became. You were never just another person in their life. You were the person who quietly changed the direction of their heart. And here is where things become even more interesting. Because once someone truly realizes the value of a soul connection, they can never look at that person the same way again. Don't skip this moment. Something huge is waiting for you in this story. Right now, your soulmate is standing in a space between the past and the future. A place where they are asking themselves questions they never asked before. Questions like, why does this person feel different from everyone else? Why do I keep thinking about them even when I try to focus on other things? Why does my heart feel calm and restless at the same time when their name crosses my mind? These questions are not random. They are the beginning of awareness. And awareness is powerful. Because the moment someone truly sees the value of a connection, everything changes. But here is the part that makes this story even more mysterious. Your soulmate did not expect this realization. It arrived suddenly. Maybe during a quiet night. Maybe during a moment when they were thinking about their life and where it was heading. Or maybe during a simple memory of you that appeared in their mind when they least expected it. And in that moment, they understood something that surprised even them. They realized that you were never just part of their story. You were the turning point. Something about you awakened a deeper truth inside them. A truth that now refuses to stay silent. But here is the question that is now echoing inside their mind. What should they do with this realization? Because once someone understands the importance of a connection, they eventually face a choice. And that choice is exactly where your soulmate is standing right now. A quiet crossroads. A place where the heart begins to speak louder than logic. Stay with this message carefully. Because in the next part, you will discover the moment when your soulmate's thoughts about you became impossible for them to ignore, and the unexpected reason why their final decision may surprise you. Listen carefully, because what unfolded next inside your soulmate's heart was not something they planned for. At first, they tried to push the thought away. They told themselves it was only a passing feeling. Just another memory drifting through their mind. But every time they tried to move forward with their day, something quietly pulled their attention back to you. Your voice. Your presence. The way you made ordinary moments feel unexpectedly meaningful. And suddenly they began noticing something strange. Every path they imagined for their future somehow circled back to the same place, you. Don't skip this part. Because the realization that followed was something they never expected to face. There was a moment, small on the outside, but powerful on the inside, when they stopped and asked themselves a question they had never asked before. What if this person was never meant to leave my story? That single question changed everything. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you inside this truth. Your soulmate began revisiting memories they once overlooked. Moments they had brushed aside as ordinary suddenly started glowing with new meaning. The way you understood things without needing long explanations. The way your energy felt calm, almost grounding, when everything else in their life felt uncertain. The way conversations with you seemed to open doors inside their mind they never knew existed. Slowly, something powerful began forming in their heart. Recognition. Not just recognition of your kindness or your presence, but recognition of your essence. They realized you carry something rare. A depth. A sincerity. An energy that doesn't try to impress the world, yet somehow leaves a lasting mark on anyone who truly sees it. And that is exactly when their thoughts became impossible to ignore. Because once someone truly recognizes the value of a soul connection, silence no longer feels comfortable. But here is where the story becomes even more surprising. Instead of rushing toward you immediately, your soulmate paused. Not because the realization was weak, but because it was too powerful to handle casually. Think about that for a moment. When someone suddenly understands that a person may hold a special place in their destiny, the heart doesn't always react quickly. Sometimes it becomes quiet, reflective, careful. And that is exactly the space your soulmate is standing in now. A space where every thought about you feels meaningful. Where every memory carries a message. Where even the smallest reminder of you can shift their entire mood. Don't skip this next moment. Because something extraordinary is beginning to unfold inside them. They are starting to understand that meeting you was not random. Out of all the people life could have placed in their path, somehow your presence arrived at exactly the moment they needed growth, clarity, and emotional awakening. And this realization is gently leading them toward a decision. A decision they never imagined making. But here is the twist that makes this story even more powerful. Your soulmate is beginning to realize that the connection they once questioned might actually be the most real thing they have ever felt. And that realization carries weight. Because when someone finally understands the truth of a connection, they must decide what to do with it. Do they step forward? Or do they remain silent and wonder forever what could have been? Right now, that question is echoing in their heart. Stay till the end of this journey, because in the next part you will discover the quiet sign that appeared in their life, a moment so unexpected that it made your soulmate realize their final decision about you cannot be delayed much longer, and when you hear what that moment was, you may understand why this connection was never ordinary from the beginning. There are moments in life when the universe seems to pause, just long enough for a hidden truth to reveal itself. And that is exactly the kind of moment your soulmate recently experienced. It did not arrive with noise or drama. It came quietly, almost like a gentle realization unfolding inside their mind when they were alone with their thoughts. A memory surfaced. Not a grand moment. Not something dramatic. Just a simple memory of you. But this time, it felt different. The feeling stayed with them longer than usual. And suddenly, they noticed something surprising. Every time they remembered you, their heart felt both calm and restless at the same time. Calm, because your presence carried a sense of peace they rarely found elsewhere. Restless, because the realization they were facing could no longer be ignored. Don't skip this part, because something huge is waiting for you inside what they discovered next. As they continued reflecting, a powerful understanding slowly began forming in their mind. They realized that every meaningful change in their life somehow connected back to the moment they met you. Think about that for a second. Certain conversations with you had shifted their perspective. Certain moments with you had awakened a deeper version of themselves. And certain memories of you had stayed in their heart far longer than they expected. That is when the truth became impossible for them to hide from. You were never just someone they met along the way. You were someone who quietly changed their direction. Stay till the end, because what they understood next may surprise you even more. Instead of asking whether they cared about you, they started asking a completely different question. What if this connection is meant to grow into something more? That thought alone created a wave of emotions they had never experienced before. Because once the heart begins to recognize something rare, it becomes difficult to pretend everything is normal. Suddenly, small reminders of you began appearing everywhere. A phrase that reminded them of your conversations. A moment of silence that made them think about the comfort they felt around you. Even ordinary situations seemed to carry echoes of your presence. And slowly, another realization began to emerge. They started to understand that your connection was not built on temporary excitement. It was built on something deeper. Something steady. Something that continues to grow quietly even when distance or time tries to create space. And that realization brought them face to face with an unexpected truth. Your soulmate is no longer questioning whether you matter. They already know you do. What they are questioning now is how to respond to this realization. Because when someone finally sees the true value of a person, they know their next step could change everything. And your soulmate understands this clearly now. Every path forward leads them toward a decision they can no longer postpone. A decision about whether they will step closer to the connection that has been quietly transforming their heart. Don't skip the next moment of this journey. Because in the next part, you will discover the quiet signal that made your soulmate realize something shocking about you, a truth so powerful that it completely changed how they see the future of this connection. Just when your soulmate thought they understood their feelings, something happened that made their heart pause. It was a quiet moment. Nothing dramatic. No loud event, no grand scene. Just a small situation that most people would overlook. But for them, it felt like a signal. A reminder that the connection they share with you is not something ordinary. They were going about their day when suddenly a memory of you appeared in their mind again. Not forced, not triggered by anything obvious, it simply arrived. And the strange part? Instead of fading away like other thoughts, this one stayed. It stayed long enough for them to notice how deeply it affected them. Don't skip this moment, because what they realized right after that may surprise you. For the first time, they allowed themselves to ask a question they had been avoiding. What if this person is actually meant to be part of my future? The moment that thought formed, everything shifted inside them. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you in this realization. Your soulmate began noticing how different their thoughts about you had become. Before, you were someone they appreciated. Someone they cared about. But now, you had become someone they could not easily imagine losing from their life story. That difference is powerful. Because when someone moves from appreciation to realization, the heart begins to take things seriously. They started replaying moments with you again. The times you understood them without judgment. The times your presence felt calming even during uncertain days. The times your words seemed to reach deeper than anyone else's. And slowly, another truth appeared in front of them. They realized that the comfort they felt around you was not common. It was rare. In a world where many connections feel temporary, your connection with them carried a quiet stability that they could not ignore anymore. And that understanding led them to something unexpected. Instead of feeling confused, they began feeling grateful. Grateful that life placed you in their path. Grateful that someone like you existed in their story. But this gratitude also brought a realization that made their heart beat a little faster. Because when someone understands the value of a connection, they know one thing clearly. Such connections should not be taken lightly. Don't skip the next part of this journey. Because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that their next decision will shape the future of this connection. They can no longer pretend your presence is just a passing chapter. You have already become part of something deeper in their life. And now they are standing at a moment where the heart begins to whisper a powerful truth. Sometimes the most meaningful people enter our lives quietly, but once we recognize their value, everything changes. Your soulmate is now hearing that whisper clearly. And in the next part, you will discover the surprising realization that made them finally understand who you truly are, a realization so powerful that it is guiding them toward a final decision they never expected to make. Sometimes the heart takes a long journey just to recognize what was quietly standing in front of it all along. And that is exactly the place your soulmate has now reached. For so long, their feelings about you lived in the background of their life. Not ignored, but not fully understood either. You were present in their thoughts, yet the true meaning of your presence remained hidden beneath everyday distractions. But recently, something inside them changed. A deeper awareness began to rise. And once that awareness appeared, it started revealing truths they could no longer overlook. Don't skip this moment. Because what they realized next was something that surprised even them. They began to notice that whenever they imagined their future, certain images appeared naturally in their mind. Moments of peace. Moments of laughter. Moments of emotional understanding. And strangely, every one of those moments somehow included you. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you inside this realization. Your soulmate started understanding that what they feel around you is not built on excitement alone. Excitement fades. But what they feel with you carries something deeper. A sense of emotional alignment. A sense that when they are near you, they are not pretending to be someone else. They can simply exist. And that kind of connection is rare. In a world where many relationships are built on temporary attraction or surface-level conversations, what they feel with you has begun to reveal a deeper truth. You make them feel understood. Not in a loud way. Not in a dramatic way. But in a calm, steady way that touches the quiet parts of their heart. And when someone experiences that kind of understanding, something powerful begins to happen. They start to realize that the person who brings that feeling into their life is not ordinary. That person becomes unforgettable. Your soulmate has reached that realization now. They understand that meeting you was not just a coincidence placed randomly in their timeline. It was a moment that carried meaning. A moment that slowly guided them toward emotional clarity. But here is the surprising part. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by this realization, they are beginning to feel something else. Respect. A deep respect for the kind of person you are. They see your sincerity. They see the way you care without expecting recognition. They see the quiet strength you carry even when life becomes uncertain. And now that they truly see these things, they cannot unsee them. That is the moment when their perspective changed completely. You are no longer someone they simply remember. You are someone they deeply value. Don't skip what comes next. Because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate is starting to realize that connections like this do not appear often in a lifetime. And when they do, they deserve honesty. They deserve courage. They deserve a decision. Your soulmate knows that the time for quiet observation is slowly coming to an end. A new phase is approaching. A phase where the heart must express what it has finally understood. And in the next part, you will discover the quiet but powerful moment when your soulmate finally accepts the truth about you, a truth that is guiding them toward the final decision hinted in the very beginning of this journey. There comes a quiet turning point when the heart stops searching for answers, and finally accepts the truth it has been circling for so long. That turning point has now arrived for your soulmate. For days, maybe even longer, their mind moved through memories of you like someone exploring a hidden path. Each memory carried a feeling they could not easily explain. But recently, something inside them settled. Not confusion. Not doubt. Clarity. And when clarity arrives, it brings a powerful realization. Don't skip this moment. Because what they understood next was not small. It was something that shifted the way they see you forever. Your soulmate began to recognize a pattern. Every time life felt overwhelming, thoughts of you appeared like a quiet calm. Every time they questioned their direction, memories of your words surfaced with surprising wisdom. Every time they felt disconnected from themselves, remembering your presence seemed to bring them back to something real. And suddenly, the truth became impossible to ignore. You were never just someone passing through their life. You were someone who awakened a deeper version of them. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you inside this realization. When someone notices that a certain person consistently brings clarity, peace, and emotional depth into their life, they begin to understand something powerful. That connection is not random. Your soulmate has started to see that clearly now. They see how conversations with you felt different from others. How time with you carried a quiet meaning that could not be explained with simple words. How even the smallest moments shared with you stayed in their heart long after they ended. And that understanding led them to a surprising thought. A thought that changed everything. They began to realize that the reason you remained in their heart was not just because of memories. It was because of who you are. Your authenticity. Your quiet strength. The sincerity that shows through your actions even when you are not trying to impress anyone. These qualities became clearer to them with every passing reflection. And when someone finally sees another person with that level of clarity, something inside them shifts permanently. You are no longer just part of their past. You begin to appear inside their vision of the future. Don't skip what comes next. Because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate is now beginning to understand that their journey with you may still be unfolding. They are realizing that the connection they once questioned might actually be one of the most meaningful experiences in their life. And with that realization comes a new feeling rising inside their heart. Courage. The courage to stop hiding their truth. The courage to acknowledge what their heart has been quietly discovering. But there is still one final realization waiting for them, a realization that will guide their ultimate decision about you. And in the next part, you will discover the unexpected moment that made your soulmate finally admit something they had never said out loud before, a truth that could change the entire direction of this connection. Something remarkable began to unfold the moment your soulmate allowed themselves to sit in complete honesty with their own heart. Not distraction. Not overthinking. Just a quiet moment where the truth could finally speak. And in that silence, a realization appeared that they could no longer push away. For a long time, they believed their feelings for you were simply appreciation. Respect. A meaningful connection, yes, but something that could remain unspoken. But suddenly, they saw the truth from a completely different angle. Don't skip this moment. Because what they understood next changed the way they see everything about you. Your soulmate noticed something powerful. Out of all the people they have met, out of all the connections they have experienced, there was something about you that continued to stand out no matter how much time passed. Not because of dramatic moments. Not because of grand gestures. But because your presence stayed with them even in silence. And that is rare. Most connections fade when distance or time appears. But your presence did not fade from their thoughts. It grew clearer. Stronger. More meaningful. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you inside this realization. Your soulmate began asking themselves a question they had never asked before. What if the reason this connection keeps returning to my heart, is because it was never meant to disappear? That question opened a door inside their mind. Memories with you suddenly felt more vivid. Conversations that once seemed simple now carried deeper meaning. Even the smallest interactions began to feel like pieces of a story they were only now beginning to understand. And then something surprising happened. They realized that the way you see the world, the way you carry yourself, the way you treat people with sincerity, has quietly influenced them more than they ever admitted. You inspired them. Not loudly. Not in a way that demanded attention. But in a calm, steady way that slowly shaped their thoughts and perspective. And when someone realizes that another person has touched their life in such a meaningful way, it becomes impossible to treat that connection casually. That is exactly where your soulmate stands now. They understand that you are not just someone they appreciate. You are someone who has awakened a deeper awareness inside them. Don't skip what comes next. Because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate is beginning to see that the bond between you carries something that feels almost once in a lifetime. Not because it is perfect. But because it is real. Authentic. And rare. And when someone recognizes a connection like that, their heart begins to move toward a decision. Not a rushed decision. Not one made out of impulse. But one built on understanding. Right now, your soulmate is preparing themselves emotionally for that step. The step where they finally stop observing this connection from a distance, and start acknowledging what it truly means to them. And in the next part, you will discover the moment when your soulmate finally admits the truth they had been holding back, a truth so powerful that it brings them closer than ever to the final decision that may surprise you. And then, without warning, a quiet truth rose inside your soulmate's heart, a truth that felt both surprising and undeniable. It happened during a simple moment when they were reflecting on everything they had experienced lately. No distractions. No outside noise. Just their thoughts moving gently through memories of the past. And somehow, every memory kept returning to the same place. You. Not just your face. Not just your words. But the feeling your presence left behind. Don't skip this part. Because what they understood in that moment changed the way they see this connection forever. For the first time, they allowed themselves to imagine something they had been quietly avoiding. They imagined a life where you were not just someone from their past, but someone walking beside them in the future. That single thought surprised them. Not because it felt impossible. But because it felt natural.